My name is Sarah Seelmeyer, and I'm United Way of King County's Food Security Program Manager. United Way is working to build a community where people have homes, students graduate, and families are financially stable. We're committed to working with partners to make sure that families can meet their basic needs and that no child in our community goes hungry. COVID-19 has dramatically increased childhood hunger in the city of Seattle. What steps will you take as mayor to permanently prioritize the issue of food access and childhood hunger in the city? And how will you ensure that Seattle leverages all federal nutrition programs to help address these challenges?
COVID-19 has severely impacted access to food, but feeding programs like school lunch systems and farmers boxes coordinated through the federal feeding program were significantly increased and successful during this emergency. This illuminates the needs and impacts of those feeding programs have on food deficient communities. We know that the Biden administration is investing in these programs, from early learning, school lunch, and summer food programs, which we will be ready to take advantage of. What we are lacking, however, is the data that truly tells us what the needs are. The Census Household Pulse data launched last April had poor data collection. We need to remedy this as soon as possible by collaborating with Seattle Public Schools, King County, and the federal government to ensure that we are counting everyone. We also know that nutrition influences health at every stage of life, and access to healthy foods is a human right. Setting children up for successful, healthy life by making sure that the barriers to accessing good quality nutrition are removed is the inherent responsibility of our leaders and elected officials. Solving this problem will require the efforts of many stakeholders, including both the public and private sector. As mayor, I will empower those stakeholders and make sure that we are correctly accounted for in federal feeding programs like WIC, SNAP, and the National School Lunch Program.
Every single family in our community deserves access to healthy, fresh food. And for too many families over the last year, and even before the last year, it was a struggle to put food on the table. As a state legislator, I fought for more funding for food security for families. As mayor, I will continue to work with the state and federal delegations to make sure that we have ample funding for food access. I will also make sure that no community is in a food desert. I'm looking forward to supporting programs like the Food Innovation District in Rainier Beach, and to programs that are putting fresh, healthy, and culturally relevant foods in our schools. There are so many things that we can be doing to make sure that every single family has access to healthy, fresh foods, and as mayor, that will be a top priority.
Childhood nutrition is of critical importance. I remember as a child in the Seattle Public Schools having friends that were hungry, and it affected their learning ability. My wife, who was once the president of United Way, years ago, we started looking at where there were food deserts, described as a place where people do not have access within a walking distance, a mile or so. So what we're going to do is work very closely with the school district to make sure that all of our kids are fed healthy food. We'll make sure we are as creative as possible using our own city facilities to make sure the kids and young adults have access to healthy food. We'll also do a strong training program on what healthy food is, access to produce as an example. And it's just not stores, it's pea patches and other types of gardening that I've really enjoyed in the city. And so we'll make sure that we use every means available to make sure our kids and our youth have access to good nutrition.
So food access is something that's really important to me, because when I was growing up, our main priority as a family was really just have food on the table. It wasn't necessarily the idea of like, oh, was what you're eating any good? It was more, did you get enough to eat? And so, as you can kind of see, I am someone who's overweight, and though I luckily have not succumbed to the same health issues as a number of my extended family members, of which I have lost to diabetes, what I am really focused on is where our power lies as a city. And for us, that means really investing in more farmers markets and eliminating our food deserts. As much as I really want to push our markets and grocery stores to just invest in our communities, it's not something where they're going to look at a neighborhood unless it's profitable. And so we need to do the social thing and just create food access ourselves.
No kid, no family should go hungry in this city. But the truth is, over the past year, the city of Seattle fed thousands of families during the pandemic. It really laid bare the challenges so many of our families are experiencing today. We can do better. And how we do that is by having a very intentional approach to making sure that we are connecting families and young people to food resources, making sure that we're facilitating more opportunities for the private sector, nonprofit groups to come forward and be a solutions provider. Because I don't want any family in this town to go to bed hungry at night.